So what we can do is look up a geofence. So we could use our drawing tools if we didn't have one saved and select a particular area, or we go in, we've got the UAE selected now, and we click on the Insight dashboard. So this is now showing the way that we can start to interrogate very rapidly our full exposure in the UAE. And you can see on the map, we've got the clusters of people data, the sites and facilities in there. But I've now got a summary that I've got over 1,300 people in there, 59 locations, a number of risk alerts. But I also have a breakdown of the sources of information. Why do I know that I've got over 1,300 people there? It's because I've got access to app-based GPS tracking. I've got itinerary-based tracking. I've got HR data with work locations, home locations. And I realize that there are sometimes privacy issues. We work through these issues with our clients, particularly on home locations. But if we look outside the Middle East, hybrid working, people working from home, we now, the duty of care aperture has expanded. And when we're looking in the Middle East, a lot of the clients that we were working with were dealing with the situation of expats, with dependents, with family members, trying to understand their exposure of people that they had a responsibility to outside of just the work environment. So you can segment this if you need to. But what I'm going to do now is just basically go in and essentially show how quickly we can start to get a message out. So we could select a template if we need to. We choose the delivery channels that might be required. You see we've got voice and Teams as well, which I'm not going to select at this point. Templates if you want, or we use the AI alert assistant. And I'm just going to create a generic impact alert or a safety poll. Now, one thing to point out, of course, is I've just gone in here looking at an area. If this was triggered by a Factal alert, we'd be using that radius, we'd be looking at the exposure to that incident, and we'd be pulling that information from the Factal alert into this message as well. So the recipient would also be understanding, right, there's been a drone attack or whatever the particular incident may be. Fully editable if you want, but I'll click through to next. We have a final preview if you want of your app, email, and SMS configuration, and I click on send now. Final confirmation. I'm not actually going to send in the purpose of the demo, but the key point to take away from this is the speed with which we can, one, get visibility of our exposure to, in this case, a fairly big scale, fast moving event. We're not looking at a sort of tight exposure to a single kinetic event. We're looking at a regional conflict. Who have I gotten across the UAE? How quickly can I get a message out? I've been talking over it, but hopefully you've seen from that within a few clicks, in a minute, you can get your first message out to everyone who is exposed to that particular or in that region.